Hello YouTube viewers, I'm Sandalwood99, and today I'll be reviewing Ultimate Werewolf, the Ultimate Edition. Now, for those of you who've been living under a rock and have never experienced the game Werewolf, it began as a Russian party game called Mafia. And essentially what it is a game of mass hysteria, of mob mentality, of paranoia, of the uninformed majority versus the informed minority, and who wins. So essentially, in the basic game, there are really three things you could be. Um, you could be one or two, maybe three if you have lots of people, werewolves. You could be the seer, who has psychic powers, or you will probably just be a regular villager. And so the game requires a moderator. I usually moderate games when my friends play because it's fun for me. Moderator shuffles it up, deals one out, and then everyone peeks at their cards secretly, and then he says, "Alright, it is the first night. Everyone close your eyes." And everyone closes their eyes. And then he says, "Werewolves, wake up." And the werewolves open their eyes silently and look around, and they look at each other and acknowledge who they are. And then once the moderator's seen that they do that, he says, "Okay, go back to sleep." Then the seer wakes up, and he says, "Select a player you want to have a vision about or investigate." And the player and the seer points at someone, and then the moderator will give them a thumbs up if that person's a werewolf, a thumbs down if they're a villager. And then the seer goes back to sleep, and then everyone wakes up. And then what happens is there's a free-form discussion on who everyone believes is who people believe are the werewolf and who isn't, and why they do or don't. And really, similar to Are You the Traitor, or rather, Are You the Traitor similar to this, the only rule is you cannot reveal your card or ask or demand another player to reveal their card or anything about their card. Or at least that's you can't. I know you can't reveal your card, but that's the second part is a house rule I added in because what happened ended up being is werewolves would be like, "Oh, I'm not a werewolf. I'm actually the seer because I know you and you aren't werewolves." And first people are like, "Oh, I believe that." And one of my smart ass friends was like, "Oh, really? Well, read the seer card out word for word." And then if they couldn't, "You're a werewolf. You're lying. Lynch them." And I thought that was kind of an unfair thing to do, so I made it a rule that you can't um, ask people to read out off their card or reveal their card or anything about their card, because that's just cheating. Well, it's not really cheating, but anyways. And so there's nominations and voting, and every day there doesn't have to be a lynching, but if a majority of players want a certain character lynched, that character will be thrown off a cliff or burned at the stake and is dead. It's very important that dead players don't talk. And then everyone goes to sleep, and the werewolves wake up again. And this night, they get to select a victim to kill, and that person will die in the morning. And the seer has another vision, and the game goes on until either both the werewolves are lynched by the village, or when the werewolves and villagers are equal. At which point the werewolves can just reveal themselves and devour the remaining villagers, and they win. And so it is there's a debate, really, about whether this is a game or a social experiment. Because it really is interesting. And I'm taking a course called Challenge and Change in Society, and it's a course on psychology, sociology, and anthropology. And I convinced my teacher to let us play this in class and let me moderate it because it so accurately represents mob mentality and how when people have a when their people are afraid, they will scapegoat other people, and you can see it very easily. There will be people, not even the werewolves, like innocent villagers, who blatantly, for no reason other than their gut reaction, they're afraid. Be like, "That person's a werewolf. I know it. I'm so sure. Lynch them, lynch them, lynch them." And that person gets lynched, and it's just a villager. And the next day, the person's wildly pointing at another person, going, "That person's a villager too. That person's a werewolf too. Blah, lynch them." And of course, that makes them look suspicious. But that's really interesting. Now, Werewolf doesn't require any special set to play. Actually, if you hold on, here we go. Before I bought this, had my own little set that I got these little graphics off a computer. Oh, they don't have the werewolf. Didn't pick up the werewolf one. But they're just little smiley faces taped to the back of playing cards that served their purpose. So why should you pay for something you can play for free? Well, you get a shitload of rolls. There's the sorcerer, who's like the anti-seer. She's on the werewolf team, and she gets a vision every night about whether or not someone's a werewolf. I mean, whether or not someone's a seer. And this person, the bodyguard, protects someone every night. That's a pretty average person. There's a hunter who gets to kill someone as soon as they die. There's a spellcaster who silences someone in the morning. The prince who can't be lynched. The pacifist who never wants to lynch anyone. There's the idiot who always wants to lynch someone. There's masons who they know who each other are because they're all in the secret society. There's the drunk who doesn't know what he is until the third night when he sobers up. There's the lichen who looks like a werewolf to the seer but is actually a villager. There's the wolf cub who's a regular werewolf, but if he gets lynched, the werewolves are so angry at killing the wolf cub that they kill 2 people the next night. There's the teenage werewolf who actually that's included in the classic movie Monsters. I have the new printed version of Ultimate Werewolf, which includes the classic movie monster characters. The teenage werewolf, who's so damn excited that he's been turned into a werewolf that he has to say werewolf at least once a day. And that's a really, really interesting role to put in, because if everyone knows that there's a teenage werewolf, day comes and everyone goes, "Okay, no one say it." And there's this horrible silence, people just staring at each other. And as a moderator, you know who the teenage werewolf is, and you can see that he or she is desperately trying to get someone else to say it. As soon as someone else says it, then she can go, "Oh, you said werewolf. Oh, you said werewolf. Oh, we're just this. Oh, you said it too. Blah, 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 blah." And that's really the only way you can get away with being the teenage werewolf, is if you manage to convince someone else to say it too. You have if you have a large amount of people, in addition to the werewolves, you can also have vampires who also get a victim every night. So there's lots of rules. Rules I never even thought of, like the blob. He's included. Originally, the classic movie monster pack was like an expansion, but the new printed version has them included in it. The blob absorbs a player every night, and that player becomes part of the blob, although they don't know it. And there's the tanner who wants to die, and he wins if he gets killed by any reason. But I won't go on with the rules. The point is, there are 68 cards in this deck, over 30 unique rolls. It's a fantastic set. If you and your friends like Werewolf, and you're going to, even if you're only going to use this like once a month, maybe, it might still be worth picking up. I mean, the full Ultimate version is, I will admit, it's $20. I spent $20 on this, on something I can play for free, but it is really nice. And if you don't want to spring for the full $20, there's a $10 one that's just a small pack of cards. That's 40 cards, much less rolls, but I guess if you're not going to use it that often, it's a good purchase. Well, the other thing that makes this set good, comes with a nice score pad, so as a moderator I can write down the special roles and who is who, keep track of them all. That's handy. And also, it comes with this. This is not just the rule book that explains how to play, but after it explains how to play, it goes on to explain the slight variations, whether or not you should have reveal the role of deceased players when they die, the different ways of doing the nomination and the voting for the lynching, daily variants, how to set up a game with the Amulet of Protection, which is a sacred item that protects you from death, and you can pass it on every night. Um, how to run multiple games. Sorry, I was reading something there. How to operate multiple games at the same time. Fun variants to use as a moderator. For example, this variant right here says don't put any werewolf cards in, and just randomly pick off players every night. And after the village has figured out there's no werewolf, um, have them, talk about why they lynched the players that they did. How to set up the room, how to use the score pad, how to teach the game to new players, how to tilt the game one side or the other, trying to keep it balanced, tips on how to speak, and how to refer to players, and using it as team building exercises, scenarios. I could go on. There's a description of all the roles and alternate versions of the roles. This is a nice little guide, 16 pages, which is something you don't get if you only buy the compact edition. But you know what? As cool as this was to read through, it's not really that necessary. I have been playing Werewolf since I was 7, and it was taught to me at summer camp. Um, I know how it works, and I know a lot of the different roles, and I also know how to moderate a game well. I know when is, I can tell, not to toot my home, but I'm pretty confident at telling which group of people are going to want me to have a little narrative story to explain a person's death, at which group just wants me to go, wake up, tonight so and so died, go have the discussion. So it's not necessary, but it's still lovely to see, and definitely I think that almost justifies the $20 price. So, Ultimate Werewolf is a fantastic purchase for any werewolf lover, assuming, of course, you're going to have a use for it on a regular basis. You may have heard me mention it before. I bring it to my school, and I play it on my spare with whoever I can find. Sometimes I only get 8 or 9 players together. A few days ago, I had 15 people all sitting at one of the tables in the cafeteria, and I had to actually stand up and walk around the table while moderating to make sure that I make sure everyone had their eyes closed during the night phase. It is the party game itself is phenomenal. It's been criticized because if you die early on, you have to sit around. But you know what? I usually only play with less than 20 people. So in games like that, even if you die first, you're only gonna be waiting around like 20 minutes, and you still get to watch the game. So that's fun. I think that if you have a group of people that you're going to be playing Werewolf on a semi-regular basis, buy this at the very least buy the compact edition, because the artwork is beautiful. Look at that. And the cards are well done and sturdy, and they have these little numbers at the bottom. You can't see it that well, but some of them plus, some of them minus, and if you add them all up, the closer it is to 0, the more balanced a game it is. So even that'll help you for deciding what rules you want to put in the game and when. It is This is it. This is, if you're going to go out and buy a set of cards, professionally made cards to play Werewolf, buy Ultimate Werewolf, either the Ultimate Edition or the Compact Edition. This is getting, it's getting a 10 out of 10. It's a fantastic purchase.